fine.
There
we go. Now we're okay. See, none of this could be chaos. That's why I put that there. Yeah. So hi everyone. Clearly it's right now it's just Anna and I, and we are not the techiest of tech people. So I did not understand that when we scheduled the thing, I still had to hit the button. I think there's a setting where I don't have to hit the button. We'll have to ask our friends about that because I'm like, I don't know. But hi, everyone, for our lovely few people that are here. It's 2025, and we're still here. I mean, I don't know about you, Anna. Is
best efforts from
where I live.
Party, we're still here.
I know. Where I live, the world was on fire for like 2.5 weeks. But for you, were you drowning in snow?
For a little bit, but like I live in New York, so we know how to deal with snow.
Yeah.
Like I know that like Florida got like 9 inches or something, and that's not a state.
Yeah, they don't know how to deal with snow.
So my dad got like stuck in Texas for like a week because they had like 1 inch of snow. And he could not fly, and he was like, "Please let me go home," because he's like, doesn't super love Texas. I mean, no, there's many wonderful people who live there. I've got family there that I adore, but he was just kind of like, "I want to be back in the blue state, please."
Yeah. It was like from Dallas all the way to like Atlanta. The airports were shut down because they couldn't handle the ice and the snow.
Yeah, I just had a grand old time. I had a lovely. So yeah, I mean, I sent money to LA. I hope so.
Yes, you did. You sent. Yeah, because what I was doing was collecting the tote bags. So what had happened is a lot of people were setting up like donation centers or little pop-up shop-up style things. And the woman that I was following, her name is Jamie Greenberg. She's a celebrity makeup artist. And she normally has like these swag bags and things that she usually gives out to celebrities. And instead, she shifted gears, packed everything up into different bags, and then gave them to people who had lost everything in the fires. And then she had brands contacting her saying, "Hey, we want to donate a bunch of stuff." And it got so big that she ended up collaborating with like a production studio event planning group, and they basically found a location in LA, and then for one day they basically created a shop up and like a self-care spa like experience for mostly for women and teens. But they had everything there: skincare, they had clothing, they had dog like pet toys, pet food supplies, kids stuff. And then like for the self-care stuff, they had people to do massages, to do mani-pedis, to do hair, to do makeup, like all of this stuff just to give people like one, a break to take care of themselves, but also to be able to get all brand new things that they might need. And because of all of that, she was like shouting out on her social media that they needed canvas tote bags. They needed tote bags. So I had a bunch of people that don't live here, right? You were one of them. And I know other people, I had family and everything that were like, I want to help. How can I help? And so I was saying like, this is one thing that is, while it's simple, it's very impactful, right? So basically, yes. And it was, so it was like anyone could either just send me money, or I had people just on Amazon like send directly to my apartment these just canvas tote bags that I found online that I was like, okay, this will work. I had over 250 tote bags that I donated, that I dropped off. I know it was insane. And then the thing that I did, because it's just who I am and what I do, and I can't just give a plain tote bag. Like, I'm like, that's no fun. So I literally wrote on little pieces of cardstock, just like square little cardstock, and then cut up a bunch of ribbon, various colors, rainbowy colors, of course, of ribbon. And I wrote on there, like on the front, it just had a heart. And then on the back, it said, "Sent with love from," and it was just the person's first name, or I might have for yours. I think some of them I did Anna, and some of them I did the Kelly family, just because it might have been from your whole family. So
Yeah.
I said sent with love. So it'd be like sent with love from Anna in New York. So whatever state they were in, I wrote the state out as well, because I also had people over in Europe send money. So I wanted people to know that it wasn't just local people coming to their assistance, that it was all across the country, people trying to help
And other
everybody.
countries
So,
too.
Scourge! What's up, Scourge? And Benjamin's here and Dave's here. Hey guys. Hey everyone. We love you. We love you.
Yeah, and also it reminds me of like the very famous line from Mr. Rogers, which is the like in times of tragedy and stuff, look to the helpers.
Yes.
Because it allows to help, and like not obviously not just related to the fires, but there's just it's a stressful time. It's a stressful
Yeah,
time.
I know. Hey, you go.
And
Yeah, I know.
and
So that was like my first 2.5 weeks. Yeah, in 2025. It's been crazy on top of everything else that's going on. And I know, like Anna, you and I talked about, like it's difficult, especially within the queer community, waking up every morning and just trying not to doom scroll, and there just being another disappointment after disappointment after disappointment every day when you wake up. So you and I specifically spoke about, we want to try to get back to doing this for our lovely queer Trekkies. We love you, queer Trekkies, and then all of our allies that watch as well. We love you. So at the very least, because our other team members are busy, like they have work lives going on, they have personal lives going on. I think Ursa's doing like a roller derby thing this weekend.
yeah, and
Yeah, that's what they're always.
Randy is so busy with work. Like
Yeah, Randy's not even in town right now. So yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like every other day I feel like Randy's telling is just kind of like, oh, I'm in this city for like a work thing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, Jesus.
I know. I worry for his safety on a plane. Like, anyway. But that's why. Hey, everyone, you're just getting me and Anna right now. It's just us for right now.
Yeah, but there's no like we didn't like kill the other two. Right? We weren't like, oh, we are the duo now.
I do have my forensics background. I have to use it. If you need to get rid of the body, I'm the one that we call, right?
Them, though. I love them. I love Ursa and Randy.
If we end up in jail, I have one number memorized, and that person will be coming to get us out of jail. It will be very entertaining if that ever happens. But yeah. I know. Oh, Anna, your bad internet froze on your face. There we go. We're good. It was like you. It was good. That was good. So wait, is there anything else we should talk about before we jump into section 31 chat? I'm trying to think. I mean, we'll talk about other stuff too.
Again, I know we already said it, but like, hi Hugo. Hi.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. This is a. Nope. Yeah. Yes. No. I'm sure I do. Oh, yes.
I respect that. You know what?
Yeah.
What I just read that up.
Yeah. I know. It's great. That was perfect. Oh, wait. I know what we should talk about. It is very appropriate that we are doing this on January 31st. I know people debate the day, if it's January 30th or January 31st. Either way, it doesn't matter. Either one counts. Today is Sub Rosa Day.
Oh my God, I forgot.
I know. I realized it as I was driving back to my apartment today. I was like, oh my gosh, this is appropriate. We're doing it on this day. Let's see. That's one of our banners for that. That's our other banner for it. Yeah.
And just last week, I was in the city, and I got off at Beverly Road in the station, Beverly Road Station, and I took a picture and was like, Beverly!
So
I don't
good.
That often, but it was
so good. The other thing that it happened, it was a couple days ago, was it was Lizard Baby Day.
Yes,
that was a couple.
Rest in peace, the lizard babies. I thought like so. Sorry, I know we probably said this before. If they like did the same thing that they did to Janeway and Paris to be like, okay, you're no longer lizards anymore. If they did that to the babies, would they be human babies then?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I
Like,
see. I need to go rewatch that episode. I should have watched it on that day, but I didn't.
I didn't either. I was busy. Oh,
I know. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so should we talk about Section 31?
I think we should talk about Section 31.
Okay. Here's the thing, everyone. Spoilers. There will be spoilers depending on how deep we get into this. So
I don't know how many spoilers actually, because you're right.
I know, but I just, some people are like, I don't want to know about spoilers. So here's the thing. Oh, hey, Corgi Butt. I know who they are. So here's the thing. So, because some people don't like spoilers. So if you haven't watched Section 31 and you are like, I don't want to know, hit pause on our lovely little live stream. Go watch the movie, then come back. Okay? Okay, great.
Also, another option is wait, let's have a signal for when we're done talking about the movie, so they can keep giving us their viewership. They can mute us, and then we'll do something. We'll both.
I don't know. Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. So when Anna does that is when we're done talking about Section 31. That's good, Anna. I like that. Also, your image froze again, which is fabulous. I love this bad internet. Yeah.
Okay.
For anyone who's new, Anna lives in upstate New York, and her internet is a little spotty. So it happens, but it's fine. Oh.
Yeah, Momo was supposed to fix that. Actually, he was. That
was the
thing he ran on.
That's perfect. Thanks, Hugo.
Yeah, when I go, ooh, it's done, okay?
Correct.
So, don't want to keep giving us your viewership. Mute it, and I'll do that again when we're done, okay?
Yeah. Okay, so let's do, first impressions.
Yeah.
Of, first of all, wait, how many times did you watch it? Because I only watched it once.
Okay. I watched it once.
Okay, great. Just checking.
Just in case.
Well, trust me, I don't know anybody who's watched it more than once unless they had to for blog purposes.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, so
so what's your first impression?
Well, I did not super care for it.
Okay.
However, and this is my weird take, did I like the film? No. Would I watch a sequel? Yes. Do I think they will make a sequel? No.
Okay.
But I'll say that's my first impression.
Okay. I kind of like that. Yeah. So my first impression was, the costumes, which we'll get into. Literally immediately, it was like, holy fucking shit, the costumes are amazing. Give them all the awards for costumes, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was giving me updated vibes of Fifth Element. You know what I mean? I was there for the costumes, especially at the bar. That's.
Yeah, they were fun.
My first thing was I was like, okay, it wasn't great, but I liked it. I enjoyed it for what it was, right? Obviously I love Michelle Yeoh and she can kick some ass. That was great. But I've talked to a few other friends about this, and part of it is I don't think there was really enough time to really be invested in some of the characters. Yep. So it's I just didn't really care enough other than Michelle Yeoh and kind of her hottie, but also a little bit of Rachel Garrett, which we'll get into as well. Yeah. And so it's I don't think it was great, but I don't think it was awful. I didn't hate it, right? Yeah. So that was kind of my first impression.
So I want to say right off the bat, is that for those that don't know, this was supposed to be a TV series.
Yes.
And it shows because they have a lot of ideas and they try and fit it in an hour and a half. And and that didn't super work. Like, I mean, ultimately, I do think the worst thing about the movie is the pacing.
Yes.
It's like there's a lot, but then there's also not enough, and it's just like the pacing's very rough. And that comes from trying to turn a TV series into a movie. And
Yeah.
and there's also I was looking into this even. So Bo Young Kim and Erica Lippold were originally supposed to be the showrunners of a TV series of Section 31. I love those two. I think they're fantastic writers. I was lucky enough to meet Bo Young Kim at Vegas the first year I went, because I had I constantly putting on Twitter. I was like, "You're so good," especially I was a screenwriting major watching it, and I was like, "She's such a fantastic."
Yeah.
Like, these women are such incredible writers. As a woman who wanted to be a screenwriter, like, it's very moving. The episode that I like to point out that people would remember in Discovery is the episode "Choose Your Pain," which is where they introduce Ash Tyler and Harry Mudd in Discovery. That was them. Such a great episode. I think they're fantastic writers. Then a few million things happened. One, the studio decided Strange New Worlds. They were going to greenlight before Section 31. Also, the pandemic. There were plans for when they were going to start shooting the TV series, and then it was, I believe, May 2020. Obviously, that didn't happen. And then on top of that, Michelle Yeoh wins an Oscar, and
and then she has no time
scheduling. So they decide on a movie, not a TV series. I think Bo Young Kim and Erica Lippold fully don't work at Paramount anymore.
I didn't even think about that.
100% sure. I know that they were working on that Netflix show Sweet Tooth or something that happened a few years ago. And so I don't, and that's like the other. We'll talk about the writer's strike another day. About how just like, sorry, we'll talk about the writer's strike.
No, it's okay. You like froze, but then it came back.
Yeah, and how, in my opinion, like, a lot of writers like them don't stick around because of not unclear contracts. And anyway, so then Craig Sweeney, who they had been working with to make the TV show, ended up adapting the all these plans for a TV show, and for season 1 at least, into a movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little rough.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, here's what I gotta say. I love this cast. I have seen these actors in a lot of other projects, and they were fantastic. I don't think this movie is the best showcase of that, because like Casey Roll, who plays Garrett, I'm a huge Hannibal fan. She plays Abigail Hobbs, which is one of the most complicated female, especially a very young female character. She's supposed to be like 17 or 18. Character, I don't recommend it if you're weak of heart, the TV show Hannibal, but if you can handle it, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's so good. She's a fantastic actress. The actor who played Quasit?
Oh, Sam. I was just, hold on, I'm going to pull up the IMDb so I have his last name. Yeah.
Sam Richardson stars in a fantastic a horror comedy called like Werewolves Within, which directed by Josh Rubin, and he's fantastic in that. Like, I've seen a lot of these actors and things, and I know they're good actors.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that I thought was interesting, especially in regards to Sam, was that his character in this movie was very similar to his character in Hocus Pocus 2, where it was like kind of comedy, but also not. And sometimes he does that really, really well. And sometimes, and like I said, I think you're right. I think a huge downfall of the movie is that it was supposed to be a series and they had to chop it short for time. And so it's like the pacing of it. So some things didn't land well. And so it's like sometimes his character almost got a little annoying. And I was like, bleh. I mean, I did love later when it was him and Casey, Rachel Garrett in the barge, the scow, whatever it was. Like,
they did a great job,
and they were trying to just figure stuff out and whatever. That I thought was a very cute dynamic with the two of them. But yeah, I agree.
It was
and
like
then
like when Why
The
didn't have
guy
time
that played Amari
Oh.
Hardwick. First of all, he's just gorgeous.
the Vulcan android.
No. So that Fuzz, that's Sven.
Oh,
His name
no.
is Sven. I'm just looking it up, but Fez. Fuzz. He was funny.
Yeah.
Oh no, you froze. You froze. Oh, Anna, you froze like this.
My bad.
You froze like this. It was good.
Well, okay, Hardwick is who you're talking about, right?
Oh, gobbledygook.
Still
Still oh god. There you go. It's fine.
Hardwick.
You sounded. Yeah,
you?
you're good. You're good now.
Okay.
Yes.
He was hot.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. I finally was able to say that.
Great. That's great.
But he was saying, I think the whole cast. I thought they were really good. It just isn't.
Yeah, well, because we didn't have time to get invested in them, right? As characters. The only one that I was even kind of interested in beyond like, oh, hey, I know you from something else, or oh, hey, I think you're hot looking type deal, and you can kick ass when you're doing fight scenes. I mean, obviously Michelle Yeoh, because we know that character. But the only other one that I was interested in, and I know a lot of people have commented online that they thought her character was annoying, was the Rachel Garrett character. And the reason being is because she's the one big reference beyond Discovery that connects to the other Trek world, right? Like TNG, Yesterday's Enterprise, Picard, the Red Lady. Like literally, Rachel Garrett. Okay, here's a spoiler for TNG. If you haven't watched Yesterday's Enterprise, I'm just giving you this heads up now. She dies. So her death literally is the reason why we end up having Sela, the character Sela, because that's how Tasha Yar ends up on the Enterprise C and then goes back in time, and it's the whole timey-wimey whatever stuff. But so like I was like, oh my gosh, this is a huge deal, having some of her origin story of that character and then having her show up. And the thing that I was disappointed about, because again, I was like, I want to be invested in this character because she connects to the other Trek. I was hoping for an Easter egg somewhere with her. And there really wasn't one. I was hoping she was going to like say something that was a line from TNG's Yesterday's Enterprise, like something, even something little, like especially when Georgiou was like giving her advice, especially about the chaos, right? Like embrace the chaos or whatever. It's going to be a little bit of chaos, whatever. I was like, is that a line from TNG? So I literally, when I was no, I know. I went and I watched, like skimmed through to her parts. The only thing, and I think this was a missed opportunity, the only thing she says that they could have used, and it would have been funny if it would have been with her and Quasi in the barge, especially when she was back in the trash. So there's a line when Rachel Garrett tells, Captain Garrett tells Lieutenant, whatever his name is, that Tasha Yar falls in love with, says something about like, let's make it one for the history books, right? That's like her line. I think it would have been hilarious if she had said something like that when she's scrounging around in the garbage and was like, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be great for making it one in the history books? And he makes some comment like, we're going to be dead. It doesn't matter. Like whatever, like he would have played it off. And I was like, this could have been the one thing that they could have used, but they didn't. I mean, she didn't have a huge part on Yesterday's Enterprise anyway. Or, I don't know, dress her in red. She was dressed in blue in the bar when they were undercover. And I was like, you could have dressed her in red.
Blue is her color.
Because thank you. Wait, Yar's Boo. I love this Yar. Yes, Castillo. That's his name. Thank you. That's his name. Yeah. So I was a little disappointed that they didn't do that, because again, you could have just dressed her in red when she was undercover. That would have been a very quick Easter egg to the Red Lady from Picard, and I would have been like, yeah, like I would have loved that. Mm-hmm. But I agree. Like our whole spiel on this was that the downfall is the fact that it was supposed to be a series, then it got squashed into a movie. And I agree with you. I would love to have a sequel. They left it open for a sequel. And but I don't know if they will.
And here's my other like little thing that I wasn't crazy about is like if I were to have made a Section 31 movie, I would have made it more like film noir-y, like a little more like they're so undercover and it's really secretive, rather than being the big bombastic and being kind of silly. I would have done a bit more of a dramatic thing. That being said, I kind of liked how campy it was, but I couldn't really be like laughing at the camp and enjoying it. I needed them to go a little bit campier. So yes. If they became a series, if they made a sequel, I do think they could go campier, and it would then become something that people really liked, and then people would be like, yeah, the first movie's kind of rough, but it's almost like a pilot episode that's a little rough. So I feel like if they make a sequel and they made it way campier and more fun, it could work, but the thing is, these things are expensive, so I don't super think they're going to do that if they don't think they're going to make a lot of money, quite frankly.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. They didn't balance that out because they tried to have it be dark action figure, and then they had the camp, and they didn't balance that out. And you're right. It's like you either had to go more one way or more the other way.
Well, it's like the stuff with San, the guy that from her like past and everything. They had those scenes and they were like really dark and serious, but I couldn't feel emotionally about them because we didn't stay in those serious dark moments very long. And I was like, and I just, they needed to choose. And I think that's, and again, that's the problem with it being a movie, not a series. They couldn't have both.
Yeah. How did you feel about her backstory that they created for her as a younger child becoming the emperor, or the emperor like intern?
Yeah.
The emperor in training, because she wasn't truly the emperor right at that moment, but
yeah. It was a huge world building swing with very little details.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, yes, I am familiar with the Hunger Games. So
that's
like, okay. We
literally what I was like, oh, we're in the Hunger Games now, but Star Trek style, but darker.
Like, that's how they choose their emperor? Like just some random, like, and her family seems poor. I almost wish they'd done something similar, but it had been more like, oh, it's like the noble classes in Terra. Yeah, to have Empress Hoshi, or at least have her mentioned. Empress Hoshi mentioned.
Yeah.
I do know this is callback to like season 1 era, like pre-pandemic era lives. This is like 2016 or something. I do remember someone was like, oh, she must be I remember someone tweeting, this is just some random person tweeting like, she must be a descendant of Empress Hoshi. And people were like, just because they're both Asian does not mean they're the same.
That is
like, because they're not of the same ethnic background. They are both Asian, but they are not from the same. Like, that is
I know.
But I think there would have been something really good of like, I kind of wish it had been almost like there's a elite class, almost like they have their own Starfleet Academy, but like Terran Empire, and it was like, you guys have opted in, you're this elite, almost noble class, and have it established that like she and this guy San have actually been together for years through this like academy, and then it's like she's going back and you think she's already been made empress maybe, and then she like kills her family or something. I think you could have done that still with just different, by like dressing it up in different ways. It would have felt like it made more sense, and I think it was more keeping with the Terran Empire that we know, of like a lot of parallels, because I think that the mirror universe is that it's very mirror too, so having it be like an academy like Starfleet or something would have been kind of good. And honestly, I kind of wish it had been something where like she and San had worked together to kill the former emperor. Because it was like, that's
Anna, you froze after they work together. So as soon as Anna comes back, we'll get the rest of that. So you said they work together, and then it paused.
Kill the former emperor.
Oh, okay.
And then she betrays him.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah,
Because
yeah.
kind of like in the Terran universe, we always see them like betraying, like to get. That's how you get promoted. So,
Yeah,
and yeah, and also like because we
yeah,
see that Michael Burnham was gonna in the Mirror Universe in Discovery was gonna overthrow the Empress, was trying to like Lorca was going to, and I'm just like I'm so confused. Don't you just find a teenager and make them fight the Hunger Games? Isn't that wouldn't
yeah.
that be how you replace her? I guess.
No, it was, but it was like one step further. Like, okay, now you have to kill your family. Like, no ties, no emotional ties. And I was like, okay, that's like Star Wars, but dark. Like, what the
Yeah,
heck? You know, to become a Jedi, you have to like cut
yeah.
all emotional
It
ties
was
and whatever.
a pretty
But
big blockbuster backstory. So it was like Star Wars, it was Hunger Games, and I was
yeah,
just like, it just didn't.
yeah.
I needed,
Well, because it wasn't fleshed out enough. It was
yeah,
just like this quick little thing. And I was like, I was first excited. I was like, oh, we're
yeah,
gonna have like an origin story of her. This is great. And I was like, it's Hunger Games. Oh, that went way darker than Hunger Games. Okay. Like
I would have
that's where
watched
I
the
went
whole
with that. And so I was like, yeah, I
um,
know. It just so many things. Let's wait. Okay, where should we go? Because there's a couple of things I want to talk about, like the costumes. I want to talk about the the cameo at the end, obviously, and then I was going to talk about like what I thought maybe was going to happen at the end, or who the cameo was originally going to be, or possibilities of who it could have been. Because
yeah,
so I had friends who had watched it before, like literally the same day, but hours before me, and so I was like texting my reactions, and they were saying like, "Wait till you get to the cameo," and I was like, "Okay, don't tell me, but is it?" And I was like guessing throughout who it was.
yeah.
So
I was
yeah,
making a cameo because I heard you. Well, let's talk about the cameo. That's where we'll go next. So cameo spoiler: Jamie Lee
yeah.
Curtis.
Spoiler. Yep. Jamie Lee Curtis is like she's basically the voice of
Control.
not section like she wasn't. Yes, Control. That's what it was. She was
Which
Control. That's I was
was
like,
evil in
okay.
Discovery, the evil program they got rid of.
I know. Well, that's the thing. And like
I
so
don't
Control, this is the other thing that was I thought a little disconnected, right? So isn't the reason why the Discovery ship ends up with Zara because of Control? Like it interacts with the sphere thing or whatever, which is technically Control, right? Or
So
it's involved
yeah,
with Control. I can't
Control took
remember.
over all the other ships because there's like this thing throughout Starfleet, and that was like yeah, and then they had to, and I interpreted it as that was why their tech kind of backtracks because remember Discovery had like holograms that just walked around and also I interpreted like
Yes.
they had to get rid of Control and that's why it backtracks, which we see it more like original series and Strange New Worlds.
Yes. Yes.
And then in this cameo with Jamie Lee Curtis, it looked like Control was maybe a person, but she also looked like she had like cybernetic kind of
I
thing.
saw that. It was a little Seven of Nine Borg-ish. I was
Yeah.
like, what is that about?
Um, I this is like that's the kind of thing that kind of cameo. It's like oh well we'll find out more in the sequel, but I don't think they're gonna get one, so I don't know about all that.
Oh, it's so sad that it's not a series. And like,
Yeah,
I don't know. I know a lot of people were like, no one wanted it anyway. Honestly, I was excited for
I
it.
was
I
excited.
like
I
the
was
idea of like,
I was more excited when it was going to be a show with Bo Young Kim and Erica
yes,
Lippold because I love and trust them. When once they were no longer like a part of the project as much, I got very anxious. But
yeah, I know.
you
I
know,
know. I mean, look, I freaking love Michelle Yeoh all day long.
oh
I was
god,
like salivating over all of her like leather everything.
oh,
Um,
so good.
but
Oh,
no, so good.
oh,
But the thing that like I was excited about a series is the fact that it was because Starfleet intelligence can get nitty gritty and it can be like our intelligence. I'm a huge fan of TV shows and movies that are about intelligence agencies across the board, right? Like one of my favorite all-time television series is called The Bureau. And it's a French show about French intelligence, and it's phenomenal, right? They've redone it. It's called The Bureau. It's hard to find.
Is it a comedy?
No, it's total drama. It's like action drama.
Never mind. My dad watched some French comedy.
No, it's like in French, it's like Le Bureau or whatever. I can't speak French, but there you go. They've redone it. I know. They've remade it for American television. It's on Showtime. It's called The Agency with McAfee. Yeah. It's whatever. But anyway, so I love that type of television. So that's why I was excited. The fact that it would also have Michelle Yeoh, but then with the opportunity to have other of our beloved Trek actors in it, potentially somehow, maybe, some way, whatever. I mean, even to the point of like finding ways of adding like Enterprise people, right? Like Malcolm Reed, wasn't he part of Section 31? Like, wasn't there a whole Section 31 tie? Like, there's
Enterprise.
I know you didn't watch Enterprise.
I watched like 3 episodes.
I know. Where's Berlin Station, Scorch. Yes, Berlin Station. So it's good. But like, there were so many things that they could have done. And so again, yes, I hope they have a sequel. I doubt it'll happen, which makes me kind of sad because it feels very unfinished.
I would also like, I do think it's So here's another thing that like I think I wish they'd done better in the film and stuff was like the distinction between Starfleet intelligence and Section 31.
Oh no, you froze. Okay, try. Nope, you froze again. Okay, now you're back. Okay, try again. Try again.
Between Starfleet intelligence and Section 31.
Yes.
Because they're different. And like O'Brien did missions with Starfleet intelligence where he went undercover in the Orion Syndicate. But he certainly didn't work with Section 31, which does way worse shit.
Yes.
Like Starfleet intelligence does missions against people that were like at war against. Like the Orion Syndicate is adversarial. Borg adversarial. Section 31 fucks with like the governments of places we have treaties with. And like, and unfortunately might be more realistic. But
oh no.
But
that's good. So this must just be me sometimes. So you must not be freezing as much for other people. Okay, that's good. So you can just keep on
take that William Boimler should have been in the Section 31.
Oh, here, I'll put it up.
I agree with that. Because he's in Section 31. They say that in Lower Decks. But in fairness, probably by the time they'd finished the movie, Lower Decks hadn't been canceled yet. Probably by the time they finished.
Yeah, I don't remember the timeline for production. It was probably 2 years ago when they actually filmed it, I think, wasn't it? It was definitely a year ago, if not more.
Yeah.
When they actually filmed
that would have been great.
Yeah, it was.
I was trying to figure out who the cameo was going to be because you hear the voice at the beginning, and I didn't think it was Jamie Lee Curtis. I was like, "Is that?"
I didn't either.
Voice? I was at first, and then I was like, and then I thought, "Is that Denise Crosby?" Because it kind of sounded like her, and I was like, and my dad and I were watching it together. And we were like, "Yeah, that kind of sounds like Yar. Is it gonna be Yar, and she's not actually dead, and it turns out it was all freaking or is it going to be Scylla, and she's not dead, and there's some temporal going back in time stuff,
right?
As well. And then it was Jamie Lee Curtis, which was delightful because Jamie Lee Curtis is always delightful, but was very much not what we were expecting. We were like, it's going to be a Star Trek actor,
right? I did too. I didn't even think it was going to be like they're going to reveal who Control is. I thought it was. So my theory was that when San was approaching the whatever, the disturbance, right? The anomaly thing, the opening, the worm, it wasn't a wormhole, whatever the opening was, whatever you called it. The rift, the space rift, the thing. That because the Terran Empire was gonna come in to our like the prime timeline or whatever, I thought it was going to be someone else for the Terran Empire. And because Georgiou was no longer there, I thought we were going to get Tilly. I was like, is it going to be Mary Weissman,
Captain
who's
Tilly.
now like, she was the captain at the time, but who knows? She either could still be a captain or she could have been like higher up in the ranks or something. I was like, I was going to be so jazzed. I was like, it's going to be Mary Weissman. Like, this is going to be a bit. Because why wouldn't they, like you said, why wouldn't they have another Star Trek actor as the cameo? Because here's the thing. The way that the movie starts and the way that the whole movie plays out, you can't not be a Star Trek actor or fan, excuse me. You can't not be a Star Trek fan and watch this, just self-watch it. I mean, you could.
Yes.
But there was a lot of stuff that like was implied that you have to already know. Whether you've watched Discovery or not, you had to have known this world. And I was like,
know what Starfleet was and their ideals and like the why they're all like, oh, you're Starfleet, Garrett. Like, so there was a quote, I don't remember who, someone who was involved had said something like, yeah, I think it'll be really they were like, Star Trek fans will enjoy it, but it'll be really easy to understand for people for new fans who never Star Trek before. And I remember reading that and going, who the hell do you think is watching this? Like, that hasn't watched, like, who is like, you know what? I'm gonna turn on Star Trek Section 31. Like, who's into Star Trek? I just don't see that happening. Maybe if you're like a diehard Michelle Yeoh fan,
yes,
but in that case, you would have watched Discovery.
That's true. That's a good point. Yep.
So I don't get that.
I know. I know. So it was weird. It was definitely weird. Okay. Can we talk about the costumes?
Yes.
Talk about the costumes. First of all, okay. So I looked this up. So Gersha Phillips is the costume designer, right? They worked on Discovery. So that makes sense as to that connection and everything. Mm-hmm. But oh my goodness, they were phenomenal. Like the detail that went into it, the way that like, especially the I think it was a Locke's like first look, like there was this like leather strap, but then it like tucked into this other thing, and then it was so good. It was just the bar scene in general. I was literally like, if STLV's cosplay is not popping this year, I'm gonna be really sad. And also I need all of my drag queens to wear all of that, because that's what I saw when I was watching. I was like, all the costumes, yes.
I have loved all the costumes of the newer Star Trek era.
Yeah.
I think they've been killing it. Well, okay, not all of them. The one uniform that they had, I think at the end of season 3, which was clearly just I think they just put them in that so that way Sonequa Martin Green's pregnancy could be covered. Because they immediately switched to a different uniform the next season. I didn't like those like gray ones. I was like, these aren't, especially because I liked the original blue uniform so much, and I was like, this is a downgrade. But then they switched out of those too, and I was like, great, cool, we're back on track. But I think that was more for like how to hide a pregnancy and less about like they were like, this is what we'll put them in. I think the costumes have been killing it. I think Strange New Worlds is a really great example of incredible costumes, especially the episode, the medieval episode with the storybook.
Oh yes,
that was Dr. Mbenga's daughter. I mean, that was some of the greatest costuming work I've seen in a long time. And Section 31 had beautiful costumes. Like Casey Roll's bar outfit, I was like, you know who's a drag queen who would wear that? And that's a compliment. Laganja Estranja.
Oh, yes.
She would wear that. Yes. She'd do green instead of blue, but that's but I was just like, and this is why I'm like, if they've gone campier, I'm like, I just want, I don't know, it's like, no disrespect to Olatunde, he's a fantastic director. it's like John Waters of Hairspray and polyester had directed this, and you put Divine the drag queen as it. Like, I think it'd be so good. Like, I would have loved it. It would immediately become like a Rocky Horror experience. It would be a cult following in an instant, and we'd all be going to like drag show performances of it. Like, get Jackie Cox in it.
I am waiting for Jackie Cox to just pull out one of those outfits from in the bar anywhere. Like,
when is Jackie going to be in Star Trek? Paramount?
Actually, that was one of the first things I guessed when my friend was like, "Oh, you can't wait for that." Like, they're like, "You'll know who it is." Yeah. They were like, "You'll know who it is," and I was like, "Oh dear God, please tell me it's Jackie Cox." It's probably not, but like that'd be amazing.
But I also would have been like, oh, "She didn't tell us."
Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say, but I get why she wouldn't have told us. NDAs, I totally get it.
She was on, because we knew her before she was on RuPaul's. And I just remember it was like knowing that, but I also remember knowing she was on RuPaul because it was, I'm on a yoga retreat for like this many months
in LA.
I won't have any internet. I won't have my phone, and it was like, okay, it's probably RuPaul's Drag Race. Maybe it's something else, but it's not a yoga retreat.
I know. It was, but yes, I would say honestly the saving grace were the costumes and then the fight scenes. Like, I think Michelle Yeoh and her fight scenes are phenomenal, but just some of the other fight scenes were really great too, well choreographed.
I kind of wish the fight choreography had been a little better. I think that they could have made more interesting fights, but that costs money, and I think all that money went to hiring the actors and all the special effects. I don't think they had as big a budget of. I don't think they had the budget size that a movie of this scale would normally have. I think they wanted to be Marvel a little too much.
See, and I thought they were, and I thought it was a little too Star Wars-y, like, because
Star Wars is also trying to be Marvel right now.
Well, that too, yeah. But the whole scene of them when they were at the like mining station or whatever it was that was on that planet, and they're on the platforms that are moving through these clearly endless tunnels that go.
Yes.
Where
and they're like, this is a junk ship with endless tunnels. I was like, what are you talking about?
I was like, do they go just around the entire planet? Like, they're just keep going. But the entire time they were on it, I was like, this looks like Star Wars.
I forgot this. When we were watching that scene, my dad literally goes, this is like Star Wars. And you have to understand, my dad really doesn't like Star Wars. So that was a scathing insult. He just sits there quietly and just goes, this is like Star Wars. And I was like,
literally what I felt like. Yeah. So it just was like, it like there were parts that hit, parts that didn't. I did think it did get a little better as time went on, but I was hopeful for it to be like, oh, you're like, okay. So I kept saying like, it was good for what it was, so to speak, where it fits within the Trek world itself. It does seem like one of the outliers because there
was a part of me that thought that the cameo, because I'd also been told there was a cameo, and because I'd heard the voice at the beginning, it was like a female voice, I didn't super think this, but part of me was like, what if the cameo is Ash Tyler?
Oh.
But I remember reading that Shahzad Latif was like, no, I'm not going to be in it. But then again, that guy's lied to us before, because Volk is specifically credited as being played by Hamid Iqbal.
Yeah.
Not Shahzad Latif. So there was a part of me that was like, I don't know, this guy's a liar. But I'm very sad that he wasn't in it, because he literally got written out of Discovery so that way he could be in the Section 31 show. And then he's not in Section 31, and I'm like, wow, you kind of just robbed him of content. Like, that really sucks. Because I think he would have been, I would have loved to have still had him in Discovery.
I know. It just, the way all of that always works is always
sad.
Yeah, yeah, it
Well,
is.
it's like,
It's
I mean,
definitely one of them. But
not to bring up Hannibal again, it's like
yeah,
there's not Hannibal Lecter, but the character Robert Lecter, who is in the books, who is the uncle of Hannibal, and Brian Fuller wanted to make him a character and reached out to David Bowie to play him, and yeah, I'm not in Picard season 3 yet.
he wasn't. But he
He was,
wasn't in season 3. He was in season 2. So yeah,
yeah,
he lied in that way.
yeah, but anyway, David Bowie was asked if he would be in Hannibal season 3 as Hannibal's uncle, which would have been great casting because who could possibly play Mads Mikkelsen's uncle, David Bowie? And his people responded he was busy making his album, but if the role was still available next year, he would do it. Now, two things happened.
Yeah.
If the role, one, he knew he was dying within a year, so that I think was also kind of a, hey, if I somehow still live, I'm doing this thing, which would have been great.
Yeah.
But and also they didn't get a season 4, which they should have. But anyway, so there's one of those things where like it sucks when it's like that doesn't work out. But they didn't end up ever creating the character of Robert Lecter because they were like, well, if we get a season 4, David Bowie said we'll do it. So, yeah, what could have been? What could have been?
Yeah. I
But
know. I mean, that's I think how this whole movie is going to be of like what could have been. As it is, yeah. I mean, I'm glad. Like, I know you didn't like it. I thought for sure you were like, no, I hated it. But no, it was good that we had this chat because
I think it has, like, I think it had potential, and I think a lot of stuff screwed up. Listen, if you thought COVID had harmed no one, obviously this movie. Also, if you thought COVID had harmed no one, you're an idiot. I'll just say that.
And not just COVID. Like COVID, the fact that Paramount is drowning, you know, like, are they getting saved? Are they being bailed out? Are they not? People losing their job, like, just so
how much
many,
are they going
so
for?
many.
I've got like $30 and I could buy them. That'd be great. No, I don't want that. I would listen
No,
if I could buy Paramount. I would love to buy Paramount.
I think Skydance is actually.
I hope so.
With it now.
I hope so. I would listen if I had the money. I would absolutely buy Paramount, and I'd be like, time to make some gay Star Trek.
Yeah, I know. Well, and I saw a couple of things that people posted recently about like what would happen to Star Trek. Well, the interesting thing is right now, a lot of Star Trek is actually the Paramount executives don't really have a whole lot of oversight in Star Trek, right? It's Secret Hideout, which is Alex Kurtzman's production company, is the primary holder. Not that they're the holder of the IP, but like that they're the ones primarily running the show, so to speak, of like what happens, right? So with Skydance coming in, it'll be interesting to see if Skydance comes in and says, no, we want to have more oversight over it. And will things change that way? Or will it remain the same where they're like, look, the Paramount executives didn't really left it to you to deal with it. So we're going to leave it to you to deal with, which my personal feeling is I think it should change. While under Alex Kurtzman, we had some great Trek. I do think Alex Kurtzman has hurt the Trek world and the Trek fandom in many ways by not listening to what the Trek fans want and what they want to see going forward and pulling shows that are in the middle and their high points of being successful to make ways for other things that aren't as successful. Look, I love that Tawny is going to be in new shows and writing new shows because I adore Tawny, but I don't necessarily know how I feel about Academy right now. Yes, we're going to have other Trek actors that I adore and love, but I don't know how I feel about having that show over like Star Trek Legacy coming off of such a huge success from Star Trek Picard season 3 because of so many fans clamoring because it's there. It's right there. And the story is there.
And here's the thing. Tawny Newsome has said very vocally that she had no problem continuing to do Lower Decks. That was not her call. And I think that's very key as well.
I think all of them, they didn't want to.
Yeah, they were all like, that's not our thing. I want Academy to be good. And
I want it to be good.
A huge reason for that is I love Tilly so much, and she's in it.
I know, that's the thing.
Yes, I don't listen. No disrespect to Robert Picardo. I don't know that we need him in another show. He's been in a lot of Trek.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, what more is there? Like, I don't know how that'll mesh, honestly, and I just don't.
And why are we getting a white guy? Why can't we have a person of color?
White guy after they just canceled Discovery, which had
our queer Trek.
Nearly all of the queer representation was in Discovery, and then they canceled it. We lost all our crap, and then we had Lower Decks, which then they canceled. Yeah. So, all right. Are we talking about Section 31 anymore? Because we can move on. I just need to do my hand signal. We're moving on. Oh, am I frozen?
You were just a little bit. You're still going. You're fine.
Okay. But are we moving off of, because we don't seem to be talking about the movie anymore?
We can. Oh no, we got like 5 minutes. So I mean, we can go a little over time like we usually do. But like, if we want to talk,
no.
But if we want to talk, oh yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Wait. I feel like I should do like a band.
Okay, because now, so we're gonna no longer be talking about spoilers. We kind of had stopped a while ago, but yeah. I do want to say, I was lucky enough to see, because I was in the city last week, and I went to see Seth Meyers record live, and I went to see his show, and I went when he was talking to Michelle Yeoh, so I got to see her live and talk about Section 31, and she also talked about like doing stunts with Jackie Chan. And first of all, she's first impressions, the most beautiful, stunning, incredible woman to have ever walked. Also, Seth Meyers.
So jealous. I'm so jealous.
Seth Meyers also extremely kind, sweet. He like came into the audience at one point, and he was like standing right next to me, and he took a question I had, and he was like talking about teachers, and he was talking about someone was kind of like, hey, what cocktails are you using to get through this selection, this 4 years? But he was talking about how like people talk about unplugging from the news because of everything going on.
Yeah.
And obviously he can't with his job. And he was kind of like saying how like he tries to view it as he gets to be with a community to digest it, because his writers and everything, they try and make jokes and like that, trying to find the positive and getting to decompress and analyze everything within his community is a real blessing, and that he hopes that they can kind of be a bit of a refuge. And I do hope that we can do that a bit with our once a month streams that are coming up. So it was just, he was fantastic. And again, he did a great interview with Michelle Yeoh. If you want to watch it, it's online. Also, you can hear yours truly laugh throughout that whole episode. I have a certain hyena laughter when I'm really laughing, and I was having a great time. I was stone.
I'm gonna go back and watch it because I didn't watch it yet.
I was stone cold sober, and I am laughing. Like, I have this laugh when I'm really laughing, and my mom was laughing at my laughing, which is a laugh you'll hear that's and you can hear it from everything that was taped that day. You will hear it to the point there's a moment in like, it might be Seth's monologue, where I didn't realize it at the time, but I was watching it back, and I see him, he laughs a little bit, and then he hears my laugh and laughs more, and then he laughs a bit, and I was like, oh god, he was laughing.
Oh, that's funny.
So it was like, and I was...
Solid work, Anna, solid work.
Not subtle. You'll hear the one laugh you can really hear, it's me. Oh, also...
I'm excited.
The beginning of the episode, he talks to the thing, and they're filming, they're recording, right? And you're in the seats, and he just says like, and I'm so excited because I know Michelle Yeoh's the guest, like, and I'm also like, I'm so excited. He just is saying like who's gonna be on the show, and he just is like, so yeah, today we have Michelle Yeoh here, and in my brain, I black out, decide this must mean she's coming out now. She is not. He just said that she's there. I suddenly, standing ovation, just me, going, and Seth a trooper just keeps talking to the camera. I stood up, realized no one else does. I was wearing a lovely black dress and a Discovery jacket. I was so great.
If anyone was in doubt that Anna was a huge fan, no, they're not.
I was so pumped. And then and he was great. He talked to me, and my mom was like low-key in love with Seth Meyers. She's obsessed with his podcast, and she was just like, "Oh, he's right there." I'm like, "Yeah." So saw that, loved, fantastic. I really recommend seeing. It's free. You just have to get picked to actually get it. I really recommend if you're in the city, if you can see him. He's fantastic. And I recommend it even more if you'd see Michelle Yeoh on his show. I'd love for him to do it or have her again. And I saw him, then my mom and I had the quickest, dinner in a bodega. Then we went to the Beacon Theater to see Brennan and Izzy's improv show Bigger, which that's their Dropout comedians, if those who know Dropout. Then the next day we went to Brooklyn, Beverly Road, and went to the...
Yeah, you were busy.
I went to the King's Theater, saw Dropout Improv with Sam Reichner, and that was freaking hysterical. It was so good. And then on the Friday, my mom went home, and my other friends who are D&D nerds, as well as myself, we went to Madison Square Garden to see Dimension 20 play D&D live with nearly 20,000 people.
That's insane.
And these little nerdy comedians in the bottom playing Dungeons and Dragons. They also were doing a coat drive with NYC Cares, so I donated a coat, which is really cool. It was over 100 coats that they got, and they also raised a couple thousand or $1,000 or something for thing, and it was great. And I was dressed as a pigeon the whole time. I had a pigeon onesie that I was wearing. If you watched Dimension 20 on Sleeping City, it makes sense. Anyway,
love it.
Had a great time, and so last week was a nerdy week. I had Star Trek, I had D&D, and I just
love our nerd weeks.
Well, and it's I think it's important to remember this election, everything, things, and getting rid of the diversity and inclusion programs. It's hard. It's hard to be someone with empathy in this day and age. It's hard to be queer. It's hard to be myself Jewish. It's hard to be women. It's hard to be, trans. It's hard to be your color. It is hard right now. It's hard to be poor and worry about Medicaid and stuff getting, to Medicare programs and stuff, disabled.
I know.
If it is nice to find these silver linings of communities that come together for joy and for love, and we can do that with these very chaotic live streams once a month.
I know. I think that's our goal, right? Is just to kind of come together and give a little alternative space for people to think about something else and hang out and be nerdy and whatever. And we are going to continue to do that at least once a month. Keep an eye on our socials that we don't post to really that often because all the social medias are dumpster fires, but whatever, we want to communicate with all of you, so we will try. But we will plan on being at STLV this year.
We're going to be at Vegas.
So we will be at Vegas, and we will have a booth this time. So just a table tucked. We're not going to be a table tucked away in the back where you can't find us, and we have to make a video of how to get to our table.
We're going to be we'll have a booth where they can't find us. Probably.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I liked making that video. I'll do it again. And tagging Jerry O'Connell because he responded and I loved it, or he liked the video or whatever.
He liked her video.
I know, but we'll be there. And as the idea of what we're going to do with it develops, we'll keep people posted. We haven't really sat down. Basically, Randy and I have to have a idea Saturday where we get very high and come up with ideas. That's what we do. I mean, that's how all of the cruise ideas we came up with. That's how the That's how these things, like, that's how we came up with these things. Like, it was all because we were just high on a Saturday. Like, that's how we came up with this stuff. So, yes, come find us at STLV when we are there. Obviously, we will keep you all posted. We will. What? Oh yeah, we don't know about that yet.
On social media, you can always say, "Man, I would love more Lambda Quadrant panels," or something like that. That genuinely helps.
Yes, do that.
And also, if you want to message us or put on comments some ideas for panels for or for streams that you would like to see us, like, do you want us to be playing this Jackbox game? Do you want us talking about Trek news like this? Do you want us, or do you want it more formal where we almost do a panel on a stream? It's new.
Yeah, we have
Lambda Quadrant.
Yeah, we have other friends that we will invite, which we do plan on doing anyway. We want to invite some of our friends to come on and hang out with us. But that's, so let us know what you guys want to see, what folks want to see. DM us, Facebook message us. We still have our DMs, even on the X Dumpster Fire. We still have access to the DMs. If you DM us, they'll be checked every now and then, but that's about it. But most likely Instagram or Facebook is where you'll Threads if you want to, but that goes to Instagram, I guess. So, okay. So thanks everyone. Thanks for coming. We so appreciate it. And we'll catch you all next time. Okay.
All right.
Bye. I hit the button.
Did you hit the
button? I want to go. I hit the button.
Still going.